There are pirates who chase freedom, Marines who chase justice. And then there is Aokiji, a man who walked away from both, carrying questions heavier than any chain. Once, Kuzan was an admiral of the Navy, one of the three strongest pillars holding up the world government's military might. A man trusted with absolute authority, a symbol of balance. Now, he sails under the flag of Blackbeard, the most dangerous pirate alive, and no one knows why, from lazy justice to broken ideals. Aokiji's justice was never loud, never absolute. He followed what he called lazy justice, not because he lacked conviction, but because he believed justice should bend for humanity. He spared lives when others would erase them. He questioned orders when others obeyed. And eventually, he reached the end of the road. That road was called Punk Hazard, the 10-day war that forged a monster. Aokiji versus Akainu, ice versus magma, mercy versus absolute justice. For 10 straight days, these two admirals reshaped an island with their fists, their haki, and their devil fruits. The battlefield itself could not survive them. Akainu wielded magma, Aokiji's natural elemental weakness. Every clash should have favored fire. And yet, Aokiji endured. That alone tells you everything. Only a monster trained beyond reason survives 10 days against a magma logia user with advanced armament Haki. By the end, Punk Hazard was split in two. One side burning forever, the other frozen in eternal winter. That wasn't symbolism, that was proof of awakening. Aokiji's devil fruit, awakened ice, the He no Mi, was already terrifying in Aokiji's hands. Instant oceans frozen, entire tsunamis neutralized, battlefields turned into graveyards of ice. But Punk Hazard showed us something more. Awakened logias don't just create elements, they permanently alter the environment. Aokiji didn't just freeze the island, he changed its climate. Even now, years later, half of Punk Hazard remains locked in ice. No stamina drain, no effort required. His will is still there. That is awakening. Ice so absolute, it ignores time. If you're enjoying the video, be sure to subscribe to become a Straw Hat member. Now back to the video. The Haki of a former admiral. You don't become an admiral without mastering Haki. Aokiji possesses advanced armament Haki capable of internal destruction, allowing his strikes to bypass defenses. Advanced observation Haki, letting him react calmly even in the chaos of top-tier combat. This is a man who fought Whitebeard's commanders without fear, who stood toe-to-toe with Akainu for 10 days straight, who was trained personally by Monkey D. Garp, a man who beat monsters with bare hands. That training shows in Aokiji's physicality. He is not a fragile logia user hiding behind powers. He brawls, he grapples, he endures, and there's something else. Does Aokiji have Conqueror's Haki? Here's the uncomfortable question. Aokiji was a Fleet Admiral candidate. Only two men were considered, Akainu and Kuzan. That position demands more than strength. It demands will. The kind of will that bends others. The kind of will kings possess. While never confirmed, it would make sense for Aokiji to possess latent Conqueror's Haki, perhaps unrefined, perhaps rejected along with the throne itself. Unlike Akainu, Kuzan did not want to rule. And sometimes that's the mark of a true conqueror. Why did Aokiji join Blackbeard? This is the biggest mystery. Blackbeard himself said it. There's something you want. So what does Aokiji want? Here's the most likely answer. Truth. The truth of the world government. The void century. Emu. The lies that forced men like him to choose between obedience and conscience. Blackbeard doesn't believe in justice, but he believes in secrets. And right now, his crew is the fastest way to reach the darkest knowledge in the world. Aokiji isn't loyal to teach. Just like ice floating atop the sea, calm on the surface, deadly underneath. A pirate's bounty. How much is Aokiji worth? Now that Kuzan is officially a pirate, the world government has no choice. They must put a price on his head, not higher than Blackbeard, but still terrifying. A former admiral, awakened logia, elite Haki, unpredictable allegiance. Estimated bounty, 3.2 billion berries. High enough to shake the seas, low enough to remind him he is not the captain. Aokiji's future battles, ice at the crossroads. Kuzan doesn't walk toward battles. Battles drift toward him, slow and unavoidable, like a winter front rolling in. As a member of Blackbeard's crew, former admiral and ideological wildcard, every clash he enters carries more than fists. These are wars of belief, power, and choice. Aokiji vs Katakuri, ice vs Mochi. Future sight versus frozen fate. This fight writes itself. Katakuri would not forget one thing. pudding was taken under Aokiji's watch. Where Katakuri stands for family and control, Aokiji represents detachment and inevitability. Mochi is flexible, adaptive, and alive. Ice is rigid, suffocating, and absolute. The real clash here isn't just devil fruits. It's observation Haki at its highest level. Katakuri's future sight allows him to avoid death. Aokiji's awakening allows him to reshape the battlefield itself, turning foresight into a prison. The question becomes brutal and simple. Can you dodge the future when the future is frozen? Aokiji vs Sanji, cold logic versus burning resolve. If Blackbeard's crew collides with the Straw Hats, Sanji is a terrifyingly fitting opponent. Fire meets ice, speed meets control, emotion meets restraint. Sanji's enhanced body and blue flames allow him to resist freezing temperatures, making this a battle of stamina and precision rather than raw power. But there's something deeper here. Aokiji fights without passion. Sanji fights for people. This matchup would test whether Sanji's heart can overpower a man who's already abandoned his. Aokiji vs Zoro, sword will versus absolute zero. If Zoro faces Aokiji, it becomes one of the most dangerous fights in the series. Ice dulls blades, cold steals strength, and Aokiji excels at slowing opponents into helplessness. But Zoro doesn't retreat from overwhelming odds. He sharpens himself against them. Advanced armament versus raw killing intent. A Logia awakening versus a swordsman who cuts concepts. This would not be flashy. It would be grinding, suffocating, and brutal. A test of whether will can slice through frozen inevitability. Aokiji vs Fujitora. Gravity versus ice. Justice, regret. Fujitora is everything Aokiji might have been, had he stayed. Both reject blind obedience. Both act on personal morality. Gravity crushing ice into splinters, ice freezing space around falling meteors. This fight isn't about domination, it's about philosophy. Fujitora believes justice can still be guided. Aokiji believes it must be abandoned entirely. Only one of those beliefs survives the final war. Aokiji vs Green Bull, winter's life itself. Green Bull feeds on life. Aokiji erases it. Ice halts growth. Freezing sap, shattering roots. This matchup is catastrophic for the environment itself. Forests entombed in ice, entire ecosystems collapsing mid-fight. Green Bull's arrogance clashes violently with Aokiji's quiet confidence. Experience versus excess. This fight would show the terrifying difference between earned power and borrowed strength. Aokiji vs Akainu, the rematch. Justice that burned the world versus justice that walked away. If this happens, it will not be about winning. It will be about ending something unfinished. Akainu represents the Navy's future. Aokiji represents its greatest failure. Magma still counters ice. But Kuzan has grown. More control, more Haki, less hesitation. Their second fight would be shorter, sharper, and far more lethal. Because this time, Kuzan wouldn't be fighting for a title. He'd be fighting for closure. Ben Beckman. Cold precision versus tactical mastery. This is the most dangerous possible matchup for Kuzan. Ben Beckman doesn't rush, he calculates. Haki-infused bullets versus freezing terrain. Strategy versus raw elemental dominance. Both men fight like veterans who have already seen the end of the world coming. This battle would be silent, measured. One mistake decides everything. Aokiji vs Lucky Roo. Speed versus stillness. Lucky Roo is shockingly fast. Aokiji controls space itself. This becomes a chase across frozen ground, ice forming mid-step, trapping momentum and turning speed into a liability. Where Roo thrives on movement, Aokiji thrives on denial. The faster Roo moves, the faster he freezes. The man in the middle of the storm. Aokiji is not a hero. He is not a villain. He is something rarer. A man who looked at the world, saw it was wrong, and chose uncertainty over obedience. In a story of kings, monsters, and gods, Kuzan stands as something dangerously human. And when the final war begins, don't look for him on the front lines. Look for the place where the temperature suddenly drops. Because when ice moves, the world freezes with it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to become a Straw Hat member. Comment your thoughts and suggestions, and I'll see you in the next video.